Hi everybody, I hope you're all doing well. Today I will be doing a live demonstration presentation to show you Mac computer settings. So to start off, I just want to mention that any settings that you see in this presentation can be explained in more depth in the breakout rooms if you have any specific questions. And secondly, that we have done previous webinars on accessibility settings in particular, if that's something you also want to learn more about. So to begin the presentation, I'm going to show you 3 different ways to access settings on a Mac computer. The first option is to look in your dock bar at the bottom, and you will see a System Preferences or Settings icon, and it is a gray gear. So if you just click on it, then you will be taken right in. Then to exit the application, you would just click on this red X here. Another option is to go into Finder, which is this icon here. It kind of looks like a person with the smiley face, and it's white and blue. And if you click on it, then you can go into the Finder, and you would go to the Applications section of Finder by navigating this left-hand bar, and then you can either scroll down to find settings, or you can search it up in this search bar here, and you can then just click on the gray gear. So that's another option. And then finally, you can always go to the Apple menu, which is located in the left top-hand corner by clicking on the Apple symbol. And then you click on System Preferences. It is the second option in this menu. So now that we're into System Preferences, the first setting that I want to go over is General. And there are lots of different settings available within this category. Firstly, appearance. There are different modes available for how you see your computer screen. There is the light option, which allows a lighter background and darker text. So you would change it by just clicking on it. There's also the dark option, which allows there to be a darker background and lighter text. And you can see how it changed. Now it's a darker background. Or there's auto, which means that it will change as the day surpasses. So there's also something called accent color that you can change, and you can change between blue, purple, pink, red, etc. And this changes the color on the screen when there are accent colors. I hope that makes sense. That's not the best explanation, but you can see that the accents on the screen will change color. But if you just want it to be on this one, it will just leave it in the normal setting that the computer comes in. Then there's also the highlight color. And you can have the highlight color as the accent color, or you can change it to be blue, purple, pink, or other options by just clicking on this drop-down menu. There's also the option to change the scroll bar settings. And by doing so, you can automatically change the scroll bar based on mouse or trackpad activity, or you can have scroll bars present when you're scrolling or always. So you may be familiar with scroll bars. When you're scrolling on a screen, you see a little bar on the side, and this just changes those settings. You can also change how to click into the scroll bar. You can do this by jumping to the next page or jumping to the spot that is clicked. Another option in general is the default web browser. And this is a very important section of the settings as it will impact the use of your computer. So mine is currently set to Google Chrome, but you can change it to Safari, which is the default browser for Mac computers. And if you want to change it to Safari, you can just simply click on it. Though I prefer to use Google Chrome, so I will change it back to Google Chrome. Finally, recent items. You can allow handoff between this Mac and your iCloud device, which means that if you have Windows open on this computer, they will appear on another computer that you log into. And the recent items are currently sent to 10 documents, apps, and servers, but you can change it to none, 5, 10, 15, and more as well. Another setting in system preferences is desktop and screensaver. Firstly, to go over desktop, this is how you change the image of your desktop computer. As you can see, mine is currently set to this purple, blue kind of landscape image. And you can change it by going to the dynamic desktop images or the light and dark desktop images, whichever ones you want. And you can scroll down until you see something that interests you. For example, if you really like this image, you can click on it and it will automatically change the desktop image on your computer. Though I do prefer the one that I already had set, so I will go back to the one that I had chosen. You can also go to Screensaver. And the screensaver is a bit different than the desktop because a screensaver is what pops up when you are inactive on your computer, and it displays a variety of different images. You can even set a custom order of images as well. And it's great because sometimes when you're just sitting at your desk, it might just be playing there and it's nice to look at. So currently I have mine sent to reflections, but you can choose different ones that they have available, such as origami, and you can see little previews here on the screen, and you can just change it to whatever you're interested in. And by going to source here, you can change the collection that you're looking at. So we are currently in Catalina, and these are all of the options here for Catalina, but you can go to colors, or you can also go to Big Sur as well. And then you can also shuffle the slide order by clicking on this checkbox, and even have specific time limits regarding the screensaver. So it would start after 20 minutes of inactivity, or you could change it to never having a screensaver or different time intervals. Another setting is dock and menu bar, and that is shown here with this icon. Firstly, for the dock, you can change the size of it, by dragging this bar here, and you can drag it from small to large. And if you keep your eye on the bottom of my screen, you can see the dock changing size as I scroll. So if you find that it's difficult to see the applications, you can always make the size larger, or you can make it smaller if you prefer it like that. You can also turn on magnification and have it at a minimal magnification, or you can also maximize it as well. Then another great feature is that you can change the position of the dock on the screen. So if you find that you don't like it at the bottom, you can change it to the left of the screen and it will pop up right here. Some people do prefer this. I see lots of people with their docks on the side or on the right, though this is a bit more disorganized in my opinion because I have folders underneath. So whatever works best for you is great. And then you can also make some specifications about minimizing windows. So if you want to have the genie effect or the scale effect when you minimize your windows, then that is a personal choice for you. You can experiment with both of them and see which one you like better. And you can make other particular specifications like double clicking a Windows title bar to zoom in, or you can also double click it to minimize. And you can minimize windows into application icons. So that means that when you're closing a window by clicking on this yellow button here, it will just go straight back into the application rather than going into the dock. You can also animate the opening of applications by having it bounce up and down as it is opening. And you can even hide the dock when you're not using it. So by doing this, it will not show unless you put your mouse over the bottom of your screen, as I'm doing right now. So this would make it appear if I was hiding the dock by moving my mouse over this area. And you can also show recent applications in the dock. Some people do ask about how to get specific apps down in this bottom menu dock. And if you turn on show recent applications, then they will just be the ones that you are currently using that appear. But you can also customize this. And if you have further questions about it, then we can definitely help you with that. Another setting is mission control, and that is this icon here. You can click on it, and you can make a few different specifications here. So mission control gives you an overview of all of your open windows, thumbnails of your full screen applications, and all arranged in a unified view. So this icon here gives a good visual representation of what mission control would do, showing you an overview of those windows. And then you can click on these checkboxes to make specifications about them. So if you want it to automatically rearrange spaces based on the most recent use so that it's in an order that makes sense, you can click there. And you can even, when switching to an application, switch to a space with open windows for the application. You can also group the windows together by application and even display, have separate displays, have separate spaces. Then there are also keyboard and mouse shortcuts that allow you to make further specifications. For example, with a single keystroke, you can view all open windows, windows of the current application, or even hide windows to locate an item on the desktop that might have been covered up. So you can change which motion will activate different features. So currently, upwards for me means mission control, downward means application windows, and then F11 shows desktop. Then there's also a wonderful feature called Hot Corners. And this is a great accessibility setting, and it may be new to some of you. I actually only found out about it today, and I think it's great. And this feature allows you to have the corners of your screen activate specific things. For example, for this top left-hand corner, I can choose that clicking on it will open mission control, the application windows, go to the desktop, open the notification center, the launch pad. It may start the screensaver or disable the screensaver, and it can even put the display to sleep, which means your screen will go dark, or you can lock the screen as well. And you can choose what each of these corners do. If there are 4 features that you want to easily access, then you can just choose which one goes in each corner. Then from there, there's also language and region. And this is indicated by the flag with the globe on it right here. It's blue. And you can click on it to enter into it. And then you would select your region. You can also specify what the first day of the week is for you, the type of calendar that you're on, and also the time format. So if you want to have your time be 24-hour time rather than the alternative option, then you can just select that there. And also the temperature unit that you want to use. And it also shows my preferred languages. Here I only have English, specifically Canadian English, but you can always click this plus button to select another preferred language and add it into your settings as well. The next aspect of system preferences that I want to touch on is security and privacy, and that's indicated by this house icon here. Firstly, in the general section, this is important because you can change your password by clicking Change Password. You can also alter when you need to put in your password. So if your screen goes to sleep, if you want it to be immediate that you have to type in your password or another time interval, you can select it there. And then you can also make other specifications as long as you click on this lock and you type in your computer password. There's also the FireVault, which secures the data on your disk by encrypting its contents automatically. And again, you would have to click the lock to make changes and put in your password, but you can turn on the FireVault. And then you can also turn on Firewall, which is currently turned off, which means that all incoming connections to this computer are allowed. And it prevents unauthorized access when it is turned on. So if that's something that you're interested in having as an extra layer of protection, then you can, of course, turn it on. And then there's also privacy, which allows you to choose specific privacy settings for different apps that you may have. Another great setting is Spotlight. And Spotlight helps you to quickly find things on your computer and shows suggestions from the internet, music, app store, movie showtimes, locations nearby, and more. And Spotlight has the icon of a magnifying glass, as you can see right here. And only selected categories will appear in Spotlight search results. So this settings allows you to choose what will appear when you make these searches. And in order to actually make searches, you go into the top bar on the right side of your computer and you click on the magnifying glass. And this opens up Spotlight Search. From there, you can just type in something that you're interested in and it will give you options. You can also go to Privacy in order to prevent Spotlight from searching certain locations. Next is Notifications. Notifications is the bell with the small red circle. And something great about Macs is that you can turn on Do Not Disturb, but you don't have to do it manually. You can set it between a certain time interval for each day. So, for example, if I wanted to have it on from 10 p.m. to 7 a.m. when I'm resting, then you can definitely do that. It's a great way to support wellness as well. And then you can also turn on Do Not Disturb if the display is off, so you're not receiving notifications, and also when the screen is locked. When Do Not Disturb is turned on, you can choose to allow calls from anyone or also allow repeated calls. So sometimes it is recommended to allow repeated calls to come through when you're on Do Not Disturb, just in case it is an emergency. But it's also nice sometimes to not have lots of sounds going off and people contacting you all the time. You can also have specifications for each app. For example, FaceTime, a messaging application. You can have specific notification settings for that. For example, it has notifications per minute, and you can choose the type of alerts that they give, and also some other things such as showing notifications on the lock screen and other things as well, including sounds and previews for the calls that are coming in. The next setting is display. So display, another way that I wanted to show you to access all of these different wonderful icons here. If you can't find it, you can always go to this top menu bar and search up display. So you can see that it's in this bottom left-hand corner, but you can always just click on it after searching it in the search bar. And there are a few different options for display. You can change the resolution. You can have it as default for display or scaled, and also the brightness. So if you turn it up or you turn it down, that will just change the brightness of your screen. And a great setting is automatically adjusting the brightness based on the light around you and True Tone automatically adapts display to make colors appear consistent in different ambient lighting conditions. And there's also AirPlay display as well, which I have turned off. Then for color, this is another part of the settings. You can open the profile for the colors, or you can delete the profile as well. Then there's Night Shift, and Night Shift automatically shifts the colors of your display to the warmer end of the color spectrum after dark. And this is proven to help you get a better night's sleep. And it's also, I think, a lot better for your eyes, I find. So you can have the schedule set to sunset to sunrise, and you can have it manual, or it will automatically do this function. And you can also change the color temperature if you want it to be warmer or cooler. Now, returning to the main page of system preferences again, I would like to go over some information on energy saving, which is located in battery right here. So you can see some information on your battery usage here, and you can see it in the last 24 hours as well as the last 10 days. And you can also see what percent your computer is at. Then if you go to battery located on the left, you can show your battery status in the menu bar by selecting it here if you want to be able to see how charged it is. You can turn the display off after a certain amount of time to save power. If the computer is turning off when you're not using it, it will have a higher percent charge. And then you can also slightly dim the display while on battery power, just so that it's not using so much energy. And you can even optimize video streaming while on battery to avoid using too much. And there's also optimized battery charging, which allows you to reduce battery aging by having your Mac learning from your daily charging routine. It will then wait to finish charging past 80% until you use it on battery. If you click on battery health, you can learn even more about your computer's battery. Then there's also power adapter. And you can see the same information here with the showing battery status in menu bar and turning display off after a certain amount of time. And you can even prevent your computer from sleeping automatically when the display is turned off if you would like to do that. And then you can also wake your computer for network access. Because while sleeping, your Mac can receive incoming network traffic, such as iMessages and other iCloud updates to keep your applications up to date. Next is the keyboard settings. And you can look for this keyboard icon. It's in the bottom of System Preferences. And there are many different settings available here. You can change things such as the delay until repeat or the key repeat. Mine is currently set to fast. You can also adjust keyboard brightness when you are in a low light setting. You can turn keyboard backlight off after a certain amount of time of activity. You can choose what the touch bar shows. So for this specific model of Mac, I have a touch bar, so I can make controls about that. And I can choose what different symbols and clicking on different buttons does on my computer. You can also change the text, so you can make replacements with things that you type in. For example, if I typed in OMW, it would change to On My Way. And there are also other spelling and grammar changes that you can make, such as correcting spelling, capitalizing words automatically, adding periods when you put a double space, and also having, again, touch bar typing suggestions. More on spelling, you can have automatic by language and even use smart quotes and dashes. There are also keyboard shortcuts available if you're interested, based on different buttons that you click on your keyboard. You can have different input sources. So this is the keyboard that we see here, and this is the input. And there's also dictation available, which whenever you type text, it will start dictating, and you can use this shortcut to then have it type it out for you. And there's also the option to set up Bluetooth keyboard in the bottom corner here. And if there were keyboards nearby that were turned on and ready to connect to Bluetooth, you would see them pop up and you could connect them. Back to the main page of system preferences again, we can go into the mouse section, and it's located to the far right here. And since there is no Bluetooth or USB mouse nearby or connected, no mouse is found. But if it were to be nearby, then I would be able to connect it and begin using my mouse. There's also the option to go into trackpad. It is a gray square here. And once you click on it, this page comes up. And you can see that there are even animations included in this part of settings, which is great. It's a great visual learning tool. And you can click on different aspects to select things such as looking up and data detectors. There's also the secondary click available, which is when you click with 2 fingers. And then the tap to click, which is tapping with 1 finger. So you can make specifications on how you're using your fingers on your trackpad. And then there's also things such as the click. You can do light, medium, or firm, and then the tracking speed as well, whether it's slow or fast. Then for scroll and zoom, you can choose your scroll direction. It's currently set to natural. You can also choose zooming in or out for pinching when you pinch on the keypad, or the trackpad, sorry. And you can see in these little visuals that there are demonstrations of someone doing the actions. There's also smart zoom, which is when you double tap with 2 fingers, and rotate, which is when you rotate with 2 fingers. You can see that there's an image on the screen rotating. And then finally, you can go into more gestures, and you can continue looking through all of these different hand movements and clicks in order to see what they do. Next is sound, and it is an icon with sound coming out of it, and you can click on it, and then you can see that there are sound effects available if you're interested in them. Then there's also the output for your computer. So right now it is on MacBook Pro speakers that are built into my computer, and you can balance the selected device if you want it more to the right of your device or the left of your device when it is coming out of your computer. Then you can just select that there. And then you can also change the output volume and even mute the output volume if necessary. You can also choose to show volume in the menu bar as well. Then there's also computer input for sound. And you can see as I'm speaking, it is showing the input level. And also I've set the input volume to this specific area here by sliding it on the slider. Another very important aspect of settings is users and groups, and it is shown here with the gray icon with 2 people. And this allows you to have different profiles on your Mac. So we can see here that I only have my own, Reed Gosling, as the current user, and it is the admin for this computer. And I can change my password from here as well. But you can also have guest users, and you can do so by clicking on this lock to make changes and then turning guest user on. So I will show you how to do that. So if you go into guest user here, you can select this checkbox, and it will enable the guest user to temporarily log into your computer, and it does not require a password for them. As well, users cannot log into the guest account remotely, so they must be on this specific device. And if FileVault is turned on, guest users can only access Safari. So the guest profile allows people to use your computer without actually going onto your profile, meaning that they can access the internet, but for example, they can't access your email. So it's like having another profile, but they're just a guest. And you can also turn it off if you would not like this option. And then you want to click the lock to prevent further changes because I'm now done adjusting my settings. One last thing to touch upon is date and time, which is the white clock icon here. And by going into this section, you can change the date and time as well as the time zone. And because this setting does make changes to your computer that can really complicate things, such as your emails and anything else that has to do with timing, you don't want to make any mistakes. So you're going to click on the lock to make changes, and again, type in your password. And from there, I'm now able to do things such as set the date and time automatically. So I would recommend doing this because it comes from time.apple.com and it is reliable, and you know that you haven't made any mistakes yourself, and it will just automatically set the time. Though you can also manually set the time if that makes you more comfortable. And then for time zone, you can set time zone automatically using the current location, and it has the closest city here set as Toronto, Canada. So then I know that it's in the correct Eastern Standard Time time zone that I'm in. And to make actual adjustments to your clock itself on your computer, you can change the clock, for example, from digital to analog. And to do this, you want to go back into Dock and Menu Bar, as I mentioned earlier in the presentation. And if you scroll down on this sidebar, you can see clock. And by clicking here on clock, you can make specifications like date options, showing the day of the week and showing the date. And then if you look to the top right-hand corner, you can see that it says Wednesday, January 26th on my screen. I have the clock set to digital. You can select to use a 24-hour clock, even show AM and PM. And if these are things that you would like, you can also flash the time separators and display the time with seconds as well if you want a very specific time. And there's even the option to announce the time. So if you click on the checkbox, you can get it to speak out to you and say what time it is every hour. And you can even customize the voice, and you can change when it does the announcement. So it could be every 15 minutes, every half an hour, or every hour. So that concludes the presentation. I hope you found some new insights into different settings that are available on Mac computers, and I believe we will now be going into breakout rooms for further discussions.